Hello everyone, Sajjan Veera Dhammo speaking from Tisarana Buddhist Monastery near Perth in Eastern Ontario. We are all well during this pandemic. We are enjoying the solitude and silence. It's a very beautiful time of year here in Ontario. And we trust that you also are well and that the self-isolation and the difficulties of this time are not too stressful for you. I'd like to congratulate all of you for this milestone of 20 years for Portland Friends of Dhamma, that you have managed to live together, practice together, create situations where you have Kalyanamitta, you have Ajahns visiting. This is a great thing to be able to do. It's very hard to create communities. I suspect virtual communities are much, much easier. They are much easier. Face-to-face communities require a lot of commitment, a lot of patience, a lot of determination, and a real love of Dhamma, and the love of using the situations, the ups and downs of community life as practice. And obviously, to do this for 20 years and to be so successful, I had a chance to visit you just at one time, I think, in that beautiful hall you have. This is quite rare, quite unique for a lay community to create such a lovely space and to sustain it, maintain it for so many years. So hats off to you, Sadhu, Anumotana, for having achieved this. And going forward, may your practice continue to deepen and become stronger. May your love of Dhamma be such that it brings you a strong sense of inquiry, and from that strong sense of inquiry, it brings you great peace and liberation from suffering. And on behalf of the Sangha, we're very grateful for the support that we always receive from folk like you. We couldn't live our lives without your lives, and so the mutuality of our dedication to the Buddhist teaching is truly wonderful. So I'll close now. I understand there'll be many Ajahns speaking, so with very best wishes from all of us at Tisarana Buddhist Monastery, may you be well and happy, may you be free from suffering, and may you realize Nibbana.
This is Ajahn Amaro speaking from Amaravati Monastery in England, and I wish to take the opportunity on this 20th anniversary of Portland Friends of the Dhamma to express my mudita, my felicitations, congratulations on all of you having made it this far. And I would dearly love to be able to visit this year as was planned for the autumn, but as we all know, with the coronavirus epidemic, all plans are subject to change, and so that I won't be coming this year, but I will be with you all in spirit, and sending all my blessings and good wishes for all of the work that you are doing now and have done in the past, and will carry on to do in the future. When you're thinking about anniversaries and such like, I feel it's very good to be having the Buddha's teaching on impermanence front and center. You know, when you establish an organization, or you go forth as a monastic, or you get married, or you build a house, or anything of that nature, then there's this sense of, oh, we're doing this and hopefully it'll carry on forever. And so one goes into, say, ventures of this nature with a good heart and with great commitment, enthusiasm, energy, and a sense of camaraderie, working together with other people to the best of your ability to bring things into form and help it to evolve in a good way. But I do feel that it's helpful to have in mind that, as Luang Por Chah would say, this is a broken glass. This is an impermanent situation. And also in that respect, even though that might be depressing to our ego or to the habits of self-view, in terms of wisdom, in terms of Dhamma practice, there's a kind of easing in the heart that recognizes, oh, of course, this can't last forever. And in that respect, it's good to recollect that the Buddha's teaching is it's not a happily ever after teaching, rather it's an islands of opportunity teaching. There are these times when things come together, the right people, the right place, the right conditions. They come together in a fortunate and a helpful, supportive way. And it's the Buddha's encouragement is for us to take advantage of those supportive conditions, to be, say, making hay while the sun shines, as we say here in the UK, to gather ye rosebuds while ye may, and while the opportunity is there, take advantage of it. There are these islands of possibility, these islands of potential opportunity, and that's how it always has been. And I feel this is a universal law, just as in the Buddha's time things came together in India where there was enough, say, social cohesion, enough leisure time, enough provision of food and social, say, well-being to enable there to be a monastic order, to enable people to have free time to practice meditation, to contemplate the teachings, to seek out spiritual guidance. They weren't in a perpetual state of stress or having to hunt for food every day and to, say, be too concerned about just physical survival from on a day-to-day basis. So just in that way now, even though there's a great deal of social distress and confusion, a great deal of conflict in the world, particularly in the United States as I'm speaking, the great, say, social disturbance, that has arisen with the death of George Floyd and others, with the say attention being strongly drawn to the concerns for the African American population, the non-white population of America, and the disadvantaged state in which they live. There is a great deal of stress and difficulty, but I would say that we do have the Dhamma teachings, we do have time to meditate, we do have a sense of social cohesion in many areas of our lives that we can take advantage of, we can use, and then out of that cohesion, out of those islands of opportunity, we can bring forth goodness, we can bring forth blessings. Even in stressful times, we do have the opportunity, we have the resources to help each other, to say, use the Buddha's teachings and to bring them to life. And so that hopefully things will, say, evolve in the United States and other countries around the world to be much more of a equable and fair, just system for all members of society, all of the human community, and that resources will be equally available, the law equally applied, and the say standards of injustice and unfairness that have been sort of entrenched in our societies for so long can be relieved, and the Dhamma teaching can be something that helps to inform that evolution. But eventually it will all fall apart. The times will change in maybe 100 years, 200 years, 500 years, then things will no longer be so coherent or be so meaningful. The living conditions might change radically, and so that we look at, rather than thinking, okay, the Portland Principle of the Dhamma is going to be here forever, or Amaravati Monastery is going to be here forever. Right now we have this coherent presence, we have this well-integrated form, a way of life, we have the Buddha's teachings, we have the Four Noble Truths, we have the four requisites for the monastic community are provided amply. There's enough social cohesion to provide for people's lives to be carried on in a reasonably, say, say well formed, well integrated, and a healthy way for large portions of the population. So the encouragement is to use those situations, use those resources as best we can, use the time that we have as best we can, because it's not going to last. Make hay while the sun shines. Well, the sun doesn't shine all the time. The weather changes, the seasons change, the conditions change. Those islands of opportunity get overwhelmed by the sea. They sink below the waves, and so those islands of opportunity are not always around. So that if we bring to mind, open our hearts to that quality of change, that this is a broken glass already, then it helps us to really be fresh and awake to the possibilities we have in each moment, and to really take advantage, to really cherish the blessings that today brings, and to really use every ounce of our strength, our abilities, our capacities to help each other, to, as I say, bring our attention to understand this mysterious thing that we are part of in the human world, and to share the blessings that come from that understanding with each other. This is what we can do, and that the law of impermanence, the law of uncertainty, in a way it helps to sharpen our attention. This isn't going to last forever, so wake up. take advantage of today, because tomorrow who knows. And so that I feel this is a suitable, appropriate reflection for the Portland Friends of the Dhamma, and I hope that your day continues to be something that is filled with blessings, much camaraderie, probably many memories being exchanged, and good feelings. So sadhu anumodana for all of your good work, and I wish you all the best as life proceeds into the future.
When you're a friend of the Dhamma, you have a good friend. A friend who has your best interests in mind. And one who reminds you of those best interests, because all too often we forget. It reminds you that your most important possession is the state of your mind. And your most important power is the power of your actions, your intentions. They can shape your life in many directions. And the Dhamma is there to remind you that you can shape your life in the direction of long-term welfare and happiness, true happiness, ultimately happiness that doesn't change, happiness that causes no harm. And like the best of friends, the Dhamma teaches you to be a friend to yourself. It encourages you to develop qualities that allow you to rely on yourself. The first being mindfulness, the ability to keep important things in mind. And then alertness, the ability to watch what you're doing, to see that your actions really do stay in line with what are your long-term best interests. And ardency, the desire to do this well. Every time before you act, speak, think, it reminds you to ask yourself, what do you expect? As a result of acting on that intention, do you expect any harm to yourself or others? If so, you don't do it. If you don't see any harm, go ahead and try. While you're doing the action, look at the results that are coming in the course of the action. Because not all actions wait until the next lifetime to give the results. Some of them are immediate. If you see that you actually are causing harm to yourself or others, you stop. If you don't see any harm, you can continue with the action. When the action is done, you look at the long-term results. And if you see that in spite of your expectations, you actually did cause harm to yourself or to others, you resolve not to repeat that harm. And then you go talk it over with another friend of the Dhamma to see what advice that person has. If you don't see that you did any harm, then you can take joy in that fact and continue in your training. In this way you develop your powers of observation, your own self-honesty, your integrity, your compassion, all of which allow you to rely on yourself more and more. So it's in this way that the Dhamma teaches you to be a good friend to yourself. Of course, you also want to be a friend to the Dhamma. What this means is an old principle called practicing the Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma. You change your ways to fit into the Dhamma rather than trying to change the Dhamma to fit in with your own preferences. Because after all, the Dhamma is timeless. This is why it's always timely. It's good for us when times are easy and we tend to get complacent. It's good for us when times are hard and we tend to get discouraged. To remind us that our actions really are important in both cases. Just because things are going well doesn't mean they always will go well. And when things are hard, that's no reason to abandon the importance of your own actions. You don't want to get swept up in the emotions of others. And you want to realize that the results of actions follow a principle that's 24/7, in force at all the time. Which means that no good deed is ever wasted. As the Buddha said, even if 4 mountains were moving in from the 4 directions, crushing all living beings in their path, you'd still want to practice the Dhamma, because that would be for your long-term benefit and happiness. And in fact, 4 mountains are moving in: aging, illness, death, separation. These things are going to happen to all of us. But that's no reason to get discouraged. That's no reason to give up. We still have this power within us, the power of our actions, the power of our intentions, and the ability to find a long-term welfare and happiness is always available. But if we were to change the Dharma to suit our preferences, it wouldn't be there for us all the time. So we change ourselves instead. It's in this way that we benefit from our friendship with the Dhamma, as we become good friends of the Dhamma and good friends for ourselves.
Greetings, friends. Ajahn Sucitto, speaking from another corner of the United States of Dhamma, which is a body that I've been privileged to belong to for quite a while, and I meet many friends and Dhamma relatives over the years, including many of yourselves, and I hope to be able to, in due course, be able to renew that acquaintance using one of these flesh vehicles called a body. But right now we're using these amazing virtual vehicles, which saves on airfares and wear and tear, but it's kind of a second best. But here we go. So anyway, I'm just making this short video to offer my spiritual support and encouragement for your practice. Certainly it's a challenging time for many of us, but it also does keep reminding you, what's your baseline? When the nation goes crazy and the economy goes crazy and the world goes upside down, what do you belong to? What's your baseline? Who can you trust? Who can you turn to? And can each and every one of us be somebody who can be trusted and who can be turned to as circumstances wash over us and crash up against us. And this sense of Sangha community, Dhamma community, assembly, if you like to put it, the fourfold assembly is something you don't just join once. Like any community, you don't just join it by a subscription or by moving in. You join it every day, every moment, through that commitment to placing your individual consciousness within the wider field, the collective. Because the collective is the baseline. We can't exist without some environment. And for most of us, for all of us, that's the human environment. That's what we exist within. We don't exist separate from that. So if you don't exist separate from that, surely then it's our duty to make that which we're not separate from as appropriate and suitable and as possible for our own welfare and for the welfare of others. This is our practice as community, as Sangha. It's not just to form some clique or little, nice society, inner society. It's for our own welfare, and that can keep extending. Whoever who wishes to operate in this way, then they're part of us. There's no entry fee. You enter every day through your commitment, and your practice. So you're looking around. How can you help? How can you support? What's your baseline? The baseline of the individual is inadequate. Using that as a baseline is not adequate. So even in your meditation, you can probably recognize when you sit and do whatever you do, you get a very strong sense of I'm here, and you've got a physicality of body or a sense of presence. But then what's around that? If you go inside it, you get into all the tangles and the physical discomforts and the sensations. You go inside your mind, you get into all the tangles of the mind. But you get to hold the whole thing as an entity, and the space around that, and you keep extending your awareness from your local consciousness, your self-consciousness into the unrestricted field of awareness. And the unrestricted field of awareness is our baseline as Dhamma practitioners. And the self thing occurs within that, whether it's the experience of the edges of your body, the pressure underneath you, the experience of your personal circumstances and the turbulence and turmoil, whatever it is, you widen across that until you get to the place where you can just contemplate. All this arises within my awareness. I'm not inside it, it's inside me. It's inside the unrestricted. So we're taking the unrestricted as our baseline, not the restricted. you take the restricted consciousness as your baseline, you can only go into further restrictions. So you get the unrestricted, and you keep extending it to every place where you want to hold back or get defensive or get agitated. Okay, that arises within awareness. How do I meet that? Not criticize, not get agitated around it, but actually spread wide, embracing awareness over that. Well, that's just a disturbance within the field. That's our Dhamma practice. And our Vinaya practice, or if you like, our external practice, is very much the same thing. Here's she, and here, and them, and what I feel about this, that, and the other, and the idiosyncrasies I can like or dislike, and need to acknowledge that, but then let go of that agitation around those features and extend into the wider field. Okay, here's the goodwill, here's the potential for good karma in this person, in my person, and in our meeting together. Here's the potential for good karma. It doesn't come easy. It doesn't come instantly. It comes through practice. And your practice has to be widening, opening and steadying. And the more you can include that in your meditation practice, and the more you can include that in your living social relationships, then the wider your baseline is, and the firmer you get, and the firmer your practice gets, and the firmer and stronger your community gets. This really has to be the way we develop as individuals, and how we make a contribution to the society. Yeah? There's such a thing as collective karma. And you can inherit all the views, opinions, prejudices, bias, anguish of the local culture, and go into all that, which is an incredible tangle. Or you can inherit the blessings, the legacies, the teaching, the training, the commitments of the Dhamma practitioners, and go into that. And what do you want to belong to? What do you want to take as your frame of reference, as your baseline? And how do they work? How do such beings work? They work by encompassing, embracing with their awareness the tangled world. And it begins to respond. This is the way it's always grown. This is why you have monasteries all over the world, because of this. This is why you have Dhamma practitioners all over the world. This is when I look on a Zoom screen, I'm looking at somebody from Peru, Singapore, Australia, Britain, Germany. Like, where is anywhere anymore? And you think, in some way this is an amazing piece of technology. In another way, it's obvious, because that's what's happening in my mind. I don't have here's an American portion and here's a British portion. It's just, this is my community. Yeah. Right? So I'll keep it short, brief, and hopefully there's something you can reflect upon, and with all the other people who will be offering you advice and support, I wish to make my contribution to that. So may you be well.
Greetings to friends that I know and friends that I don't at PFoD. Very happy to be able to send my good wishes your way on this special celebration. 20 years is a long time, from the bare beginnings of a group of 3 or 4 people to what it has become today. And I've always appreciated my time with everyone at PFoD. I've really gotten a lot of joy out of just watching it grow and watching people extend themselves and work together. And yes, it's not always easy, there's not always agreement, but that's true anywhere. And we just have to do our best to work together and towards something that is of benefit to many. So kudos to you, because it's a wonderful thing that you've built and added to and sustained. The world certainly needs centers like this, and they're a place of great support. I know for myself, I've always felt that, yes, I can be on my own and I can be okay, but I find much greater support being in the presence of like-minded people who can help me to see where I maybe my vision is not so clear, and also to help catch me if I'm going in a direction that's not skillful, not useful. Sometimes that's in as little of a thing as just encouragement or a reflection back. So that's a beautiful thing that you have, because you have a group of people there of Kalyanamita, and really this practice is totally, completely dependent on that. Just to sustain it, to keep us on the right track. And it's not always easy, and so our Kalyanamita bolster us. And that's what I feel like PFoD has really built over the years. And people come and go, but there's always a core group that's really supportive and wholeheartedly giving of themselves into it and aspiring to really wholesome things. So just wish you a lot of encouragement and send my deepest gratitude to you. And it's wonderful to be able to offering this 10 years after our wonderful 10-year celebration when the Hermitage was just beginning. Still have fond memories of that. So hopefully we'll be seeing you sometime before too long, but I hold you in my hearts, and just deepest congratulations to you.
Wow, 20 years. It's amazing. And what a gift. What a precious gift to have this community of the Portland Friends of the Dhamma. This is a place where we can really practice all the things that the Buddha said we need for harmony and community. We can be kind to each other, practice an agreed upon set of precepts, share what we have with each other. And the Buddha said the most important thing is to have a view that is noble and liberating and leads to the complete ending of suffering. He compared that to the ridge pole of the house, or the beam at the peak of the house. And that's what holds the whole building together. That's what gives stability. And for us as practitioners, that gives us the unified goal. It pulls everything from the path along with it. It helps us help each other to stay on the path. And we can really, with a community like this, we can put forth the best version of ourselves. And we can live it and practice it until it becomes our character. We can live as a noble disciple lives. So what's a noble disciple? The Buddha contrasted the untaught ordinary person with the noble disciple in many, many places in the suttas. So we can learn, how does a noble disciple act and speak and think? And as we pick up that and we practice and we support each other to stay on the path, then that's how we are. That's what we become, the noble disciple. And don't ever think, oh, I'm not that far along, I don't have those attainments. Because it becomes a reality as we put in the effort and we stay focused on that goal that we all share. That goal, that view that is noble and liberating is not a common thing in the world. We don't even see it necessarily in all Buddhist groups. But at PFoD, that's the goal. And your teachers are teaching that, and your community is practicing that, and this is something really precious. So celebrate this 20 years of experience, and look forward to the years that come, and use it for the best possible result.
This is Ajahn Sumedho speaking from Wat Paratanawan in Thailand. And I was informed recently by Sakula that the Friends of the Dhamma in Portland, Oregon will be celebrating their 20th year on the 28th of June. So I want to just express my appreciation for all the hard work that all of you have done to make this possible. The interest in Buddha Dhamma has increased very strongly throughout the world because there's a great need for wisdom and understanding of the way things are. The Dhamma actually means the reality, awaken to reality. The Portland Friends of the Dhamma is dedicated to inviting monks, ajahns, who have the practice, meditation, who have insight and understanding into the teaching of the Dhamma, into the Dhamma, and therefore this is a very important event to celebrate, to encourage through this time of the corona COVID-19 virus pandemic, where there's so much doubt, so much fear, anxiety about the future, and our reflections on Dhamma allow us to get beyond just the immediate reactions we might have to the events that we hear through the media. I've been retired now from my duties at Amaravati in the UK for nearly 10 years. Living here in Thailand and plenty of time to meditate, and during this time it has been very helpful just to relinquish duties and be with myself more and more, to see the true path is not something remote, something external that you've got to find, or something you don't have. It's awakening to the reality of here and now, and so it's not something you'll ever find outside yourself. The problem with most human beings and the material cultures that we come from is that we assume we are the conditions, so the physical body, the mental, emotional states, the memories. We identify with all the condition, with all the phenomena that we experience in a lifetime, and so we identify with that which is imperfect, which changes, which has qualities of right and wrong, good and bad. But this is the delusion that one has, that one is imperfect because we identify with the conditions that are imperfect. But our true nature is Dhamma, is perfection, and we begin to awaken to that reality in a very direct way, rather than trying to just justify or make problems around the conditions, the habitual conditions, the habit patterns, the thoughts, the memories, the mistakes we make in life. We begin to find our real nature, our true sense of being is here and now. It's perfect, stainless, spotless. It's the Dhamma, that's our refuge. And so, I encourage all of you who are listening to take an interest in Dhamma. This particular word is very significant in all the forms of Buddhism, and it has many definitions, but in terms of translation it means that which is apparent here and now, and that is the reality of now, timeless. It's not something that comes and goes. It's not dependent on space or time or special conditions. So that this Dhamma reality is our true nature, and when we realize that, then that's the end of suffering. So I offer this as a reflection to celebrate and honor the 20th anniversary of the Portland Friends of the Dhamma, wishing you all well, giving my blessings and best wishes. May all beings be happy, be free from suffering. Thank you.